welcome back to another video. Today I'll be bringing you my month in review for November. I had actually meant to have some videos go up in November. In fact, I think I filmed them, I just didn't edit them because life threw me some curveballs and I did some traveling and there was a holiday here in America and all that, so basically didn't happen. But let's get into what I read. In November I read a grand total of 12 books with an average star rating of 3.83. which I found interesting, and then I realized that there is at least one book I rated 2 out of 5 stars, and it dragged my rating system down because it would have been around like a 4.1-ish if I hadn't read this one book that I rated 2 stars. That book which I rated 2 stars was an arc of The Bone Witch by Rin Chipeko, which I hope I pronounced correctly. This was an arc I'd gotten from NetGalley, and it took me over a month to read this book because I had to keep stopping it because I was getting bored and frustrated. And ultimately my biggest issues with this novel was the pacing. The pacing was so unbearably slow that it was near impossible to finish. I nearly DNF'd it so many times, and there was a love triangle and plenty of other things where I went, nope, there's nothing in this book which redeems the pacing problem enough for me to give it at least even 3 stars, so I had to give it 2, which was kind of a bummer because I was really excited going into it because it looked like it was going to deal with necromancy and it just was going to be interesting, and it was so slow. So slow. But I did also rate a book 5 out of 5 stars, and that was Augustus by John Williams, and this was an interesting book for me because it is a fictionalized biography of sorts of Augustus told in an epistolary format, so it's told in the form of letters and journal entries and autobiography fragments of people who knew Octavius or Augustus Caesar, who was the first emperor of Rome, and the actual voice of Augustus himself doesn't appear until the very, very, very end of the book. You suddenly start seeing Augustus looking back upon his life. And it was really interesting for me because Augustus is this figure that I view both with a great amount of respect because he did a lot of very good things. He secured a lot of Roman borders and came in after Rome had just dealt with about a century of civil war, and he really did bring a lot of stability to the empire. But at the same time, he enacted some laws which are kind of ridiculous. The biggest one you can look at is essentially the marriage laws, which was that if a father caught his daughter cheating in her and her husband's house, he could kill his daughter and her lover, and if a husband knew that his wife was cheating, he had to prosecute her, or else he could be prosecuted. It was really ridiculous. So essentially, I think he did a lot of great things on an empire standpoint, and I think he's interesting, but he was also kind of a bit of a tyrant. And what I found interesting about this book was that it took a very positive view of Augustus, and that everything he does is sort of spun in a positive light, so it's hard to think badly of him. And I did find that a little frustrating at times, but then when it came to the part where Augustus was basically looking back on his own life, the writing was so beautiful that I went, you know what? I can overlook the obvious just like Augustus gushing because the writing is so gorgeous, and it turned out to be this really fantastic listening experience that I really enjoyed it. And then I just want to shout out to 2 books that I read. I picked these up as part of an Audible deal. These were the first 2 books in Scotland Yard's Murder Squad series by Alex Grecian, the first one being The Yard, the second one being The Black Country. These take place in Victorian London post Jack the Ripper, so the first one really deals with London's murder squad having to kind of come together in the wake of everything that happened with Jack the Ripper, and the second one kind of deals with or plays upon the idea of the King Cholera scare. And I find these books so entertaining. I'm sure there are plenty of historical problems with them, but I'm more interested in the characters and in the mystery and the way that it is set up. And that's what makes these books so much fun for me, and I've really enjoyed listening to them. I kind of can't wait to get to the next, I think, 2 or 3 books that are out right now in the series. And those books I've all rated 4 out of 5 stars, because they're not perfect. They do have problems, and there are things where I sometimes go, I don't know here, but I really, really, really enjoy them. Outside of that, I might as well show up some swag that I got over the past month. The first one being a Non-Stop shirt, which is a Hamilton reference. The closing of the first act is a song called Non-Stop, which I absolutely love. So this is Non-Stop, and the Non-Stop is formed by all the lyrics in the song, which I think is pretty cool. It's a very comfortable shirt too, so that's a plus side, which was, I got it off of Redbubble. And then the other 2 things I got were from Loot Crate, which I probably should have done an unboxing for that, but oh well. The first one was actually called Lootwear, and I had just some sort of coupon code so I could get it, because I'd never subscribed to any of these, I could get it at an absurd discount, so I did. And first what you got are some lounge pants, of all the Hogwarts houses. Yes, yes. Very cozy. I'm very pleased. And then to go with that, again, was able to get the actual Loot Crate at a relative discount. And we have a shirt, Become an Obliviator Net Recruiting Now, for MACUSA, which is the Magical Congress of the United States of America, which is from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which I actually went to see. I did take a road trip up to South Bend, Indiana, and while I was there, we went and saw Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and I quite enjoyed it. Yes, there were problems, and I could probably do a whole thing on talking about them and the difficulties of creating that film that I'm sure, occurred, and adapting it and all that jazz. But honestly, I enjoyed the film too much, and I don't want to pick it apart because I enjoyed it, and we'll just leave it there. But that's it for me today, you guys, so until next time, cheers.